Erev Tov Rabotai. We still have a lot of things to discuss about Rosh Hashana. Haba Leinu Tova. So one of the things is, that I want to tell you that a lot of people have a minhag, especially in Eretz Israel, that on Rosh Hashanah they pray benetz. Early, very early minyan. So what does that mean? Today, to pray benetz is like you have to start like 5:40, and netz is like 6:30, whatever it is, it's later, 6:45 for Rosh Hashanah. Anyway, the point is, right, that why they do this? Why they pray benetz on Rosh Hashanah? The reason is because you're not allowed to sleep on Rosh Hashanah anyway, in the daytime. Right? It says in the Gemara Yerushalmi, Misha damich beRosh Hashanah, damich mazale. What does that mean? If he sleeps on Rosh Hashanah, his mazal will also go sleep. So it's not good to sleep on Rosh Hashanah. What does that mean? In the daytime, right? In nighttime, we all sleep. But we're not angels, we're not malachim. You know what I mean? I'm sorry?
You said after 1 o'clock is mutar.
Yeah.
But now
But in the daytime, right, you're not allowed to sleep. That's what it is. So therefore, why wake up late anyway, to pray late? Some minyanim, they're starting like 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, some places. Crazy, on Rosh Hashanah, start 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock. This is way, way, way too late, to start like this on Rosh Hashanah. When are you going to finish? If you start at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, you're going to finish what? 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, right, in the afternoon. When are you going to have time to eat? When are you going to have time to, take a nap, right? Whatever, anything, nothing. You won't have time for nothing. So you got to make sure you pray early on Rosh Hashanah, 6:30 is also good. What time is starting over here? 6:30. 6:30 is good. Some people do nets a little bit earlier, but 6:30 is okay, I remember Maran, my rabbi, he used to start at 6:30, but 10:30 we were finished. 4 hours. Finished. Finito. Understand? 4 hours we were finished. Out the door. Right? Chag Sameach. Shana Tova. That was it, right? Why? Because they weren't wasting time, Unfortunately, most of the time that they're doing, in the minyan, they're wasting time. Why? How many hashkabot you want to do now? For 100 people, all your ancestors, until Har Sinai. What do you need all this for? What do you need it for? 100 hashkabot each person. What? It's a waste of time. You're wasting time. People have time. They have what to do. Rosh Hashanah and Rosh Hashanah. They can't stay here all day in the shul. You know what I mean? With these things, wasting time on nonsense. Yeah, I'm sorry, Mechila.
But anyway, we cannot eat before 1 p.m.
Why not? Who said? No, not true. Adarabah, you should eat early. Why not? Why not eat?
Half day you stay.
No such a thing like that. I don't think you understood him right. Ask him again. I don't know. This is not correct. You're supposed to eat before 1 o'clock, not after 1 o'clock. Adarabah. Just the opposite, right? Anyway, you're not supposed to fast until 1 o'clock. That's what it means. Anyway, Rabotai, there's so much time wasted, with these minyanim. Doing nothing, standing over here, 2 hours with the Sefer Torah. Why do you need 2 hours with the Sefer Torah? It takes 20 minutes, half hour to read the Sefer Torah for Rosh Hashanah. Not more than that. Why 2 hours over here with Sefer Torah? Wasting time. Everybody's sitting there, falling asleep, going crazy. Actually, money. Everything is money. Okay, the truth is, also at Maran, with Maran also, they were doing selling aliyot. They were selling psukim. They were selling, but doing kikchak, 1, 2, 3. Not for 2 hours, not for 40 minutes to sell psukim for 40 minutes. Who needs this?
We are Bukharian people.
Doesn't matter, Everybody has to be smart. Whether you're Bukharian or whatever you are, you have to be smart. Don't waste time on nonsense. You know what I mean? Don't make people sit here for nothing, just sitting, going crazy. And they're talking during betalim, all kinds of things which you're not even allowed to talk in the shul. You know what I mean? It's too much time, too much waste. This is no good, What can you do? It is what it is. I don't know. What can I do? If it was my shul, if it was my shul, I would finish 10:30. I would be out the door. I would do. I'll let you know. I'll invite you first. No problem. I'm serious. This is what on Yom Kippur we used to start 6:30. We finished 11:30. Finished 11:30. Finished. That's it. 5 hours. Yom Kippur. Then we had, we had a break, for like 3 hours. We could go sleep, get some sleep. Anyway, Rabbi, okay, that's fantasy, over here in New York, it's fantasy. But for me, it was reality. I lived this, I lived it for 15 years like this with Maran. Alav Shalom. Okay, whatever. Anyway, right, getting back to what we're talking about, which is the sleeping, right? So as our friend said, the Arizal says, even though it says in Yerushalmi that you're not supposed to sleep in the daytime in Yerushalmi because your mazal is going to go to sleep. But if you sleep after Chatzot, it's okay, after midday. What time is midday? About 10 minutes to 1, right? Or about that time. After that, you can sleep. Why is this? What's the reason? What difference does it make? It's before midday, before Chatzot, after Chatzot. Why? What difference does it make? So the answer is that, said the Arizal, that the Bet Din, that they're judging people over there in Shemaim on Rosh Hashana, after Chatzot, they close it. They close the Bet Din, there's no Bet Din anymore. That's why you're allowed to sleep. Because after 1 o'clock, they're not judging you anymore. The Bet Din is closed. You know what they say, right? The lawyers, right? It's adjourned. The Bet Din is adjourned. That's what it is.
What day are we talking about, Rabbi? What day are we talking
Rosh Hashana, Tuesday, Wednesday, right? What about Yom Kippur? What about?
We're gonna stay a whole day.
I hope not. You should finish 11:30.
How?
No wasting time. No hashkava baklava. Everybody has 100 baklava hashkava. How many times do you make hashkava for your whole mishpacha? From 200 years ago. Who needs all this? Who needs it? You don't need it. It's a waste of time. Okay. I'm sorry?
How are you going to finish?
Shachrit, it takes 1 hour. Okay? And then reading the Torah, half hour. Should not more than that. Musaf, another hour and a half. I don't know, whatever. That's it. Finished. Come on. 4 hours. That's all you need.
Why would we stay all day in the shul?
Why? Because wasting time. Bad scheduling, right? Bad program.
So you're going to have to stay all day.
Program is no. Why? For what? What do you need it for?
A lot of singing. You were singing in the shul also?
Yes, but singing, yes, but 4 hours maximum. That's it, right? Get out the door. How much can you sing? What do you want to sing? What are you doing? Opera over here? What are you doing over here? I mean, you can sing, yeah, of course. Chazan has to do nice. Opera, yes, but short opera. Not too long. Not too much. You can't go crazy. Can't drive everybody crazy. This is no good. You know why they're doing this? This long minyan. You know why? Because mulas, kesef. That's all. It's all about money. They think that if they stay longer, they're going to make more money. I don't think this is true, by the way. Honestly, I don't think they're going to make more money just because they stay all day here. What I mean? How can I tell you? It is what it is. God bless you. God bless you all. Have a good New Year. But anyway, right, as we said, so after Chatzot, you're allowed to sleep, So what does that mean? You go home, right, you have a seudah, and take a little nap, 2 hours nap, whatever, if you're tired. It's okay, no problem, As long as you don't sleep in the morning, right, from sunrise, until midday. Those 6 hours, you shouldn't sleep. Try not to if you can, Well, sometimes it happens, people fall asleep. What can you do? What are you going to do? Kill him? Shoot him? What are you going to do? Okay, he fell asleep, What can you do? People are tired. There's Yetzirah also, There's Yetzirah. What can you do? It is what it is. Okay, fine. That's that, right? So, that's important to know for Rosh Hashana. Same thing also the second day. Same thing. Whatever you do the first day, second day, same thing. We're going to have shofar on both days, right? Tuesday and Wednesday, shofar. So come early, Rabbi, if you keep talking, we're never going to finish nothing here. We're not going to say nothing, right? Nechila. You know what it says right in the Chazal? It says, why did Hashem give you 2 ears and 1 mouth? Because you should listen more than you talk. That's why He gave you 2 ears. Listen more. What do you need to talk now? Talk when you go home. You can talk on the phone. You can call your friend, right, and talk over there. Why talk over here now? Okay, Rabbi. So anyway, right, as we said, that's the program, right? There's one siman, by the way, yesterday when we did the simanim. One I forgot to say. Somebody reminded me yesterday. You know which one it was? KARTI. That's siman I didn't say yesterday. It's one of the simanim. You know what's KARTI? You know what this is? This is green onion. You know the long one, but thick one. You know the thick one. You know what I'm talking about? It's called LEEKS. In English they call it LEEKS. You know? Thick. Like this, you know? But it's a green onion, long. KARTI. So what is the yiratzon that we say? Right? Why do we use this food? Because we say, right, yiratzon, she'ikartu et oivenu vesonenu, right? Ikartu. What does that mean? It should be cut off. Right? Our enemy should be cut off. This is why we use this food, KARTI. So we said all of them yesterday except this one, right? So make sure when you go to the super, right, tomorrow or whatever, whenever you go to the super, okay, fine, Bezat Hashem. So, also another thing, you know, there's another problem. When they pray too late, you know, this happens, by the way, a lot in these kinds of shuls in New York, America. They pray shachrit, you know, so late, and then the Sefer Torah is out here for 2 hours, 3 hours. God knows what they're doing, you know what I mean? Too much time. Rabotai, can I ask you to let me talk, please, if you don't mind? Mechila. We're never going to finish nothing like this, you know. Well, talking. After. Now this is the Yetzer Hara, you know. When the Yetzer Hara is telling you, talk now. No. Tell the Yetzer Hara, no, I talk later. Okay. So, as we said, right, that there's another problem, you know, which is that it says in the Halakha, in the Mishnah, it says, right, that you're not supposed to say Musaf after the 7th hour, you know. So, you shouldn't say Musaf so late. You know, especially on Yom Kippur, this happens. You know, so what does that mean? You should start Musaf a little bit earlier. You know, don't wait till the last minute, because you know on Rosh Hashana, right, the Musaf is long. You know, and also Yom Kippur, long, right, long, very long. So you got to make sure, right, that you finish it before the 7th hour. What time is that? Before like 1:45. You know, you got to finish the Musaf. That's the latest. You know, but the truth is, you shouldn't even come close to that. You should be finished already by 11:30, 10:30. What do you need it for? All this time. Right, yeah. The Ashkenazim, you know, I told them, you know, one of my friends, they got offended, you know, said, why are you talking? Yeah, because it's true, you know, they're in the shul all day, Ashkenazim, you know, they're all day. When do you have time to eat? When do you have time to take a nap? Nothing. They have no time for nothing. You know what I mean? They're all day, they're in shul. You know why? Wasting time. I hate to say it, you know, but they're just wasting time. You don't need all this time. You don't have to be in shul all day. Hashem doesn't want you to be in shul all day. He wants you to have a seudah. He wants you to learn Torah. He wants you to take a little nap, you know, if you're tired. Why be in shul all day? For what? What do you need this for? Okay, fine. Anybody about that? They're not going to listen to me, but anyway, I tell you, you know, because you have to say the emet, you know, you have to say the truth. Nobody's going to listen to me. Maybe one chacham, you know, will listen to me, you know, somewhere in the world, you know, that's also good. I'm happy if he does that too. Rabotai, I'm going to talk more about Rosh Hashana B'ezrat Hashem tomorrow. Yom Chamishi, tomorrow. I want to tell you one thing today also, you know, tonight, which is about, you know, everybody's talking about this. You know what I'm talking about, right? This poor guy, right, that got killed. You know? They shot him, you know? You know what I'm talking about, right? Yeah, this poor guy, you know? He got killed. Some meshuga, you know, killed him, you know, shot him from 150 meters away with a rifle. Crazy, you know, meshuga. So, a lot of people are talking, you know, about this. All kinds of things, you know. Because this guy, you know, he was a very interesting guy. I mean, and what's really interesting, you know, that we're concerned about is he became very close to Judaism, you know. He got very close. Very close. Right? So a lot of people are saying, Charlie, you know, that's his name, right? Charlie, right? Oh, Charlie was he was a good guy, you know, came close to Judaism. He was close to Israel, you know, close to, you know, the Jewish people. This is very good. You know, yeah, that's what they're saying, right? Everybody's talking about this. So the truth is, you know, that I have to tell you one thing. You know, that as our friend said, right? He was starting to keep Shabbat already, this guy. You know what I mean? They say, you know, that he wrote a book about it, you know, how to keep Shabbat. Can you imagine such a thing like this? You know, he was releasing a book about how to keep Shabbat. I don't think he knew, by the way, how to keep Shabbat, you know. He knew what he knew, you know, whatever he knew. It was a lot of mistakes he had also, you know. He didn't know the 100%. I mean, he should have came to a rabbi and, you know, discussed it, right? So the truth is, you know, that Why do I tell you this? Because there's a lot of interesting things to understand here with this guy. Charlie, our friend Charlie, right?
Yeah.
So I'll tell you what it is. Number one, right, that it says in the halacha, in the Gemara, right? It says that a goy is not allowed to keep Shabbat. You know that, right? Because it says in the Chumash that Hashem gave the Shabbat to the Jewish people only, right? Not to anybody else. It's a special ot, right? A special sign for the Jewish people. So he was starting to keep Shabbat, you know. It says in the Gemara, goy shovet b'Shabbat chayav mitah. He's liable to death, you know. Mina shamayim. They're going to kill him. That's what it says, you know. If he keeps Shabbat. But when is this? This is only if he's keeping everything, you know, 100%. But if he's breaking a little bit Shabbat, you know, a little bit breaking, it's okay. He's allowed to keep. Let's say 90%, right? He can keep. But 10%, he's got to break it a little bit. That's what it says in the halacha, you know. So what does that mean? He should go out, you know, let's say, right? He makes kiddush, you know, he does the seudot, he does all kinds of things. Okay, that's kiddush, you know, he doesn't, but he should go, you know, like in the afternoon, you know, go to the store, you know, buy some chewing gum, some cigarette, whatever he wants to buy, right? To break Shabbat a little bit, he should break it also. You know why? Because he's a goy. He's not supposed to keep Shabbat 100%. 90% he can keep. Right? This is the rule, you know. There are two things that a goy is not allowed to do. One thing is to keep Shabbat. The other one is to learn Torah. Those two things they're not allowed to do. But they can keep all the other mitzvot. You know, if they want to keep the other mitzvot, they can keep. If he wants to put tefillin, he can put tefillin. If he wants to keep kashrut, he can keep kashrut. No problem with that. The only problem is Shabbat and Torah. These two things they don't have a portion in that.
Year?
I'm sorry?
Year?
Yeah, if he converts, he converts. He's a Jew. Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course. So here's the thing, right? I'll tell you something very interesting with this guy, you know. He's a very interesting character. Because he was coming close to Judaism, you know. But the truth is, you know, he was still, you know, he believed in Avodah Zarah, you know, in the Christian, you know. In Yeshu, Imach Shemo. He believed in these things, you know. This is Avodah Zarah. You know, so one, you know, on one side he believes in Avodah Zarah, you know, it's the kfirah of the Christians. On the other side, you know, he wants to keep Shabbat. You know what I mean? And, you know, be like a Jew. You can't have it both ways, you know. Avodah Zarah and Shabbat doesn't go together. You know what I mean? One and the other doesn't go. So you know what it says, right? Regarding this in the Zohar Kadosh. I'll tell you, we'll stop here, 2 minutes. I'll explain to you something very interesting. It says in Zohar Kadosh, there are certain goyim, you know, the Kadosh Baruch Hu wants to bring them to, you know, to be Jews. So what does he do? He reincarnates them, you know, next Gilgul, he's going to bring them back as a Jew. You know, this time he was a goy, next lifetime he's going to be a Jew. He's going to be born as a Jew. Yeah, you know, not convert, he's going to be born a Jew. You understand? From a Jewish mother. This is what happened with Bilam Arasha, right? What happened with him? They say, right, Tamut nafshi, right, mitat yesharim. He said, right, I should die. You know, he wanted to die like a Jew. He prayed to Hashem. You know, it says in the Chumash. So Hashem told him, okay, you want to be like a Jew? You want to die like a Jew? I'll bring you. Right? He brought him back as a Jew next time. Who was he? Navala Carmeli, right? He was a Rasha, this guy, you know. But anyway, right, he was a relative of David HaMelech. You know, he was Gilgul of Bil'am. So it says in Zohar Kadosh, we see from here that Hashem tries to bring them back, you know, in a Gilgul to be a Jew. You know, to purify them, you know, to elevate them. The Goyim, sometimes, you know, he does this, you know, he tries to help them to become purified. So this guy, Charlie, I can tell you right now, right, 100%, according to what we're saying here, he's going to come back next time as a Jew. There's no question about it, right? This time he couldn't make it. Why? Because he was with Avodah Zarah, you know. You can't have Judaism and Avodah Zarah together. It doesn't go. Hashem said, listen, you know, you're doing something a little bit crazy here, you know. Shabbat, Avodah Zarah, you can't have these two together. What are you trying to do? What are you trying to be? You crazy? You know? So next time, as Zohar Kadosh says, right, this guy will come back as a Jew. You know, and Hashem will elevate him, you know, to learn Torah and to keep Shabbat and everything. You know why? Because he won't do Avodah Zarah anymore. You know, Hashem cannot accept him when he believes in Avodah Zarah. He cannot accept him like this, you know. So this is why, you know, he has to come back in a Gilgul. You know, to be, next time he's going to be a Jew. Bezat Hashem, you know. That's what it's going to be. He brings back a lot of people like this, you know, a lot of Goyim. Why? So what does he do? How does he bring them back? You know what he does? It says in the Zohar Kadosh like this. What he does is he takes the neshama, you know, takes it to Geinam, you know, he has to be purified in Geinam for a while. You know, and then what he does is he cuts off the bad part of the neshama, you know, does surgery, you know, chirurgia. He cuts off the bad part, You know, because there's something bad over there. That's why he's doing Avodah Zarah. That's why he believes in Avodah Zarah. Something bad there. You know? So what he does is he cuts off the bad part, and he brings them back, this time, pure Jew. No more Avodah Zarah. That's what he does, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. You understand? This is what he does for the people. He brings them back, in a Gilgul. Bilam HaRasha, he wasn't able to straighten them out, even though he brought him back in a Gilgul. You know why? Because he was also a Rasha when he came back as a Jew. He was also a Rasha. But little by little, sometimes he corrects them. Until, he's able to get something out of them. There says in the Zohar Kadosh, there's only one people, that they have no tikkun with Gilgul. There's no tikkun with them. You know who this is? Erev Rav. Erev Rav, they have no tikkun. There's no, Hashem cannot metaken them, because their neshama is all dirty, everything is sick. There's no tikkun with them. But when it comes to many others, who are not, so bad, he can correct them, cut the bad part out, bring them back again as a Jew next time. That's what he does, right? So Charlie will be back, don't worry, you'll see him again, but you won't know that it's him. You're not gonna know. They're not gonna call him Charlie this time. ברוך ה' לעולם, אמן ואמן. לפי חניה כשאומר, יצא הקדוש ברוך הוא לעזור כל ישראל, לפי כך יבוא להם תורה ומצוות שנאמר לנו לחפש, למען צדקו יגדיל תורה וידין.